Okay, welcome everybody to Live at Lunch. You're with Vivian Evans today with Live at Lunch, and it's exciting. We've got welcome Sheila, we've got Odette, Gay, Donna, Karen. Woohoo! We're actually stretching across to New Zealand today. I love that when we go international. I've had Japan. This is great to have you all here. So some of you may have come through my invitation through the Rural Woman, and some of you come through my automated emails. I do updates. My pleasure, Sheila. And and I love the image, by the way, telling what time it is. It's cute. So we're going to be having lots of fun and hands-on. Great to see you, Karen. And hi. So this session's being recorded, and that you can see it. I can see it on the screen on the top left-hand corner. And when you're actually hosting your own and have your own Zoom room, you've got that option to turn it on and turn it off and pause it. So there's some great stuff. Now we're going to do hands-on today and show you bits and pieces all about it. Let's see how far we get in half an hour, because that's the time's going to fly. And so just to share with you, I'd love you to share either on voice or in, so you're welcome to ask questions verbally, or you can type in the text chat. So let me run through some of the tips of this room now. So first of all, you have, when you hover, if you're on a computer, if you hover on the computer, you have down the bottom, you see a whole lot of tools come up. And one of them is the microphone. So you can turn that on and off, so you can mute it. And you can even see on the screen, we can see Odette's got hers muted. And and Karen's just turned hers off. As the host, I can actually mute and unmute people. So on your screen, I'm seeing the little images. I can see that I can mute. So if you're running, and I can unmute too. Now, I would tend not to unmute people unless I can actually do it in one flick and turn everyone off. And if you were involved in Rebel Black's International Women's Day, where we had 50, 60 people in, she had everyone muted and then could unmute for the guest speaker to speak. So there's quite a bit of control. And we're going to play around. I'm going to change you to be hosts. And especially if you want to do that, let me know. So the other way to communicate is through your text chat. And I'll just run through it again, because a few people were here early and I showed how you can do that. So up the top of your screen, I find it's really handy to be out of full screen. So there's a few ways that you can change it. You have a little button that has like arrows out, and it depends on which way you're looking at it. So if I click a button that says enter full screen, I then see you all, I just see the 6 pictures. I'm not seeing the chat. If you actually exit full screen and turn on the chat, now that's a little speech bubble down the bottom of, it says chat, and then you have your chat on the right-hand side. If you have it as full screen, your chat box will hover and you manoeuvre it around. So there's a few ways that you can manoeuvre that. So that's as a participant. So I find it easier to be in to be out of the full screen and have the chat on the right-hand side, and then I can keep track of it. So I can see as people are doing it. So let's just share, just to get everyone engaging in the text chat. Can everyone share where they are right now? So where you're beaming in from, because it'll just give us and perhaps we need to say, yep, the state, or great. So we've got Sheila from Ngari, Gay from Cattai, New South Wales, Odette from Catterton, New Zealand, and she's in her study, so she's even got to wear in her room. So I'm in my office. You can have some fun with this. I've had we could actually say where we'd rather be. And so how about we type that too? Where would you rather be now? This is open totally to your imagination. So I'm going to say, I'm going to type, and when you're recording, it doesn't record the chat, but you can save the chat. Oh, we're on the same wavelength here. I'll share mine. Yes, let's run away. So look, in these rooms, look, you can have as much fun and be creative as you want. It's up to your imagination. It can be straightforward. Okay, anywhere you like. So I'm just, for the recording, we have got Sheila saying she'd love to be with my kids. Gay, nowhere I'd rather be than in my library, which is where she is. So fantastic, you're in your favourite space. Karen's going to Bali. And Odette, I'd rather be in the sea floating in the big surf. Well, I'm floating too, but I'm laying back in a gondola in Venice. I've never been and I would love to. So that's awesome. And Donna's got, Joe. Okay, fantastic. So Joe from Foster is in Italy as well. So sorry, I misread that. So, and Gay's watching musk ox in Alaska. And Sheila's dreaming a little bit more in a rainforest. How wonderful. So you can have a bit of fun. And if you wanted to save the text, so say if it was a whole lot of, Karen and I were just talking earlier today, she's about farm safety and training with that. You could actually have people share issues and typing and things like that, and you can save the text. Last night I was in a meeting online with the Rural Pipe Band Committee from the whole of New South Wales, and she was able to have everyone enter their name and the band they belong to. This was the secretary, was able to ask that. And then if you look at the text on the right-hand side, you've got more, and you can drop that arrow and you can save the chat and click save the chat, and it'll tell you that it's saved. Now, where it saves to, we checked this out. I'm on a Mac, so it goes into my documents, and Zoom creates a folder called Zoom. And so you'll probably find a similar sort of thing on your computer if you're on a PC. So I think it was in, again, in documents, and you'll see a folder called Zoom. It's the same place it would automatically go to save any recordings that you do as well. So I'm recording now. It doesn't record the text chat, but you can save this way if you want to keep it, but the video doesn't do it. Same for the PC, great, Gay. So it goes into my documents. It's called Zoom, and it will give you the date. Sometimes it might have the title, or if you've had a meeting, it's got a specific name. So it might have live at lunch, but it'll actually have the specific date and work backwards, 2018, the month, and then the day. So that's handy. So you've got a whole lot of ways of recording it. There are so many ways that we can use this room. So yes, it is brilliant, isn't it? Okay, great. Gay's she's put in the text 2018-03-22, even the time 12:07. So when you actually save the actual chat, and it actually, if you open up the file, it'll detail who said what, so who was registered in and what they wrote. Yeah, so that's the live at lunch with the code number, which is actually the code of my live at lunch, the Zoom room. So fantastic, you got that all there. Okay, so I've got a checklist here because there's so many things that we need to look at. Now, so we've got the chat on the side. Muting, we've talked about, so you can turn it on and you can mute other people. Down the bottom in your taskbar, we have another list that for me in the menu bar has manage participants. And it then for me appears now on the right-hand side above the chat. That's if you're in exit full screen and you're seeing that, or it might pop up as a window separate. You can see all the people listed, and also I can see who's muted and who's not. I can see who's got their, a video on or not. So we've got obviously we've got everyone off. Now Sheila has her image up, and that would be because she's probably connected and have a Zoom room. Is that right, Sheila? Have you got a Zoom room yourself? And I'm just saying we've got a new message. Great. So she has. So it is, everyone else is appearing with their name. So if you turn your video off, you either come up with your name, what you signed in with. So you could come into a room and have that. Or if you've got your own room, and great to see Karen, it's lovely. I love it when we have some videos on. There is a trick next. I'd really love it next if, but if you've got your own room, you can then edit in the background and add your own image up. And it wasn't working for me a moment ago. I'm just going to see if it is now. There we go. It was doing glitchy things before. So you can get your fancy photo and, so that's, so how do you get your video? Gay's asking. And great, Sheila's on. Excellent. And you can tilt to fit. Sometimes it's about working your background. We're just having fun exploring here. That's it. Tilt your screen. Some people say I should have it lifted up because you can see up my nose, so maybe we could do there, but I think you'll see up my nose no matter what I do unless I go down like that. So how do you get your video on? Down in your taskbar down the bottom, you should have a stop or start video. So it depends on your computer. You can add fancy attachments. Don't have a Gay. Do you have a video on built into your computer? No. Okay, so that's what you're going to need for that to happen. So you could do a plug-in and work around that to have a video. Zoom's a very much a connected person. It's a bit like the Brady Bunch, isn't it, when we have all these? Now, when you've got your video on, I promised that I would share a trick about how you can remove your wrinkles. Okay, so this next bit is about, and I've removed, they're not all gone, but some of them are. So when you look at your video camera, there's an arrow next to it, and when you click on the arrow, there says video settings. And once I open that up, it opens up I'm seeing now in front of me a whole lot of controls. I can see me on the camera. I'm looking back at myself, and there is touch up my appearance is a little button you can tick. Now, if I untick that, you can now see a bit more blotchier. And then if I do it again and tick it, look, well, miraculous. It just took away the blotches. So it just blurs you out a bit. And once you start, to be honest, I don't mind. I love aging. I'm really having a lot of fun. I'm 53, proud of it. Wisdom keeper is the stage I'm in now. And I don't really wear makeup because my husband prefers me without it, so I very rarely do. But I'm a little bit addicted to this touch-up experience. So I'm going to put it back on. But that's a bit of fun you can have. And so there's an option there that you can have. Okay, so I'm just reading some of the text. Okay, just trying to get okay, so how do you so Sheila's just asking, how do you get your picture? So you're talking about your video, I think there, Sheila. So down the bottom, if you hover your mouse across the bottom of your screen, you get a toolbar come up, and you can start video or stop video, depending on where you're at. But your photo's up at the moment. And then I'm just going to read what Joe's got. Oh, okay, so she's got a broken webcam. Oh, and Donna's back, welcome. And I'm just going to hide the participants so that I'll get more of the text chat. Yep, you've got, yeah, as soon as you stop the video, if you've got your image up on Zoom, you can, in the behind the scenes, that'll automatically pop up instead of just a name. Right. Okay. So that's something if you have the web. And so really it's up to you. We're all mostly coming from a rural environment and potentially a low bandwidth. Now, for years and years, I've been doing webinars for over 10 years on lots and lots of different platforms. Some use really high use of the internet, and so you get broken up. And you may even find this today. Adding video, of course, is going to take up more bandwidth. So you could be off and just have your voice. So, you know, so that's the play of the personal connection. And I would highly recommend, if you're working and connecting and just exploring and stepping into using webinars, a great way that you can use it is there's a few ways you can use it. You can use it just for yourself. You can record, present, and just have you on the camera and record and do an introduction. So it could be a presentation, a training tip, something, a marketing, telling people about yourself, telling you about an event. I got a massive amount of hits. I've hosted a big weekend for the Rural Woman in Barradine. It was my baby, and we had an exhibition and guest speakers in a workshop. The amazing amount of hits from me actually recording, and I could pre-record and then put it up. You can do FaceTime if you're into Facebook, but it's there and it's only what you do. What's neat about this is that I can record it and I can edit it, so I have exactly what I want. So that's handy. You can stop and start. You can play around. You can stumble across and go, nah, stop, and do that again. The only time you see your recording is when you finish and close the meeting and close the room, and then it'll pop it in a little folder, just like it did for the text chat, and pop it in your Zoom folder and have the date. What's brilliant is that it does a sound recording, so you could use it for a podcast. It does an MP4, which is a video file, and it has two other little bits that I quite haven't worked out what they're for. So that all gets popped into your folder, four things. So you can then edit, you can upload straight into Facebook, any other program you've got. I pull it into iMovie, put things at the front and the back end. I can do that, or I can just put it on YouTube, upload it onto YouTube. I have done a whole webinar, a previous Live at Lunch, all about YouTube. So if you check out the recordings, and I'll share that list in a moment with you. Actually, let me show you how another feature while we're at it. So I'm just going to double check. I've got removing wrinkles, recording yourself. A nice other way about instead of recording yourself is one-to-one meetings. Just connect with someone you know, someone you feel comfortable with, and play around with that. You might have a business meeting that you could connect with someone just so you can see. So Karen and I just connected earlier this morning, and just spoke about, you know, potentially her business for this, and how webinars could be used. And it was so nice to be able to see her, and for us to see each other and connect and get that so much more personality. You can talk on the phone and that's fine, but this is another way. You can do small groups and have a few people, or you could even have large groups, up to 100. Now, it depends on how you work with this. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you this other feature of sharing, and show you a few other tips. We've got 10 minutes. So, and what's lovely, can I tell you, last night we had a lady in our group in the meeting with the pipe band who had a rotten cold, and guess what? You can meet and you don't get the lurgies. So that's another benefit. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So down the bottom of your screen, you'll see a green button. So I'm just going to share my screen for the moment, and we might, if anyone wants to have a play in a moment, let me know in the text chat if you would like to give it a go, and I'll promote you to host. So I'm going to show you a few bits, but if anyone's keen, and I think it's really good to have a go, have a shot at it. So I'm pressing the button, share my screen. What comes up for me is a whole host of other things. I can do a whiteboard, and I'll need to do a whole session on whiteboard. I haven't played enough with that. I could do my whole computer desktop, Or I could do, because I've got Google Chrome, which is a web browser open, it's showing, so I've got a host of things. So I might, I'm just going to share Google Chrome, just that for the moment. And what that does for me is that it won't, if I had pop-ups and other things happening, say like my desktop might be messy with lots of stuff, or it might be the emails, you don't see that. So I've got those controls. Okay, so here's the live at lunch, and I can copy, I wanted to show you where you can get to your recordings for other resources. When I do webinars, I have guests, so that could be another way that you could connect with people and record and have it not live, but record it and then use that and host, you know, different guests. So I'm choosing to go live. I'm going to come back. I'm just opening up. I have to open up the chat window. It's a little bit weird when you're sharing your desktop because lots of things are in sort of in the way or out of the way. And when I'm recording, I'm just going to hide some of this stuff so the recording's clearer so you can see the buttons. Okay, so you could be sharing, you could be talking about your farm, your website, your business, and you can be sharing on screen. You could be giving instructions on how to use a particular tool. What I wanted to come to was the cost, because how do you know, what is this worth? So it's www.zoom.us is the website, and we have solutions, plans and pricing. So I'm just going to bring that up. Okay, so this room is free. What does it do for you? You sign up and you've got, it can host up to 100 participants. It's unlimited one-to-one, so you could connect and talk to someone, one person, and it won't run out of time. But if you've got more than one person, it will stop in 40 minutes. So we would be cut off. Now, if you're having meetings, that might be handy. It might keep your meeting short. We always need short meetings, so it might be that, or you could just join in again after the 40 minutes. Okay, so you've got the potential to talk to someone. You can do this live at lunch, half an hour. That's under the 40 minutes. But I did log in early. So if I've logged in early, it would cut out after half an hour. So there's lots of resources there. You can, and they're obviously putting a pro one there that's $14.99 per month. I don't think that's quite right because I think it's $17.99. This might be US. I have to check. You can see I'm logged in here because I'm a member, and I'm actually a member through the Rural Woman. So that's another way that you can be a part. If you're a member of the Rural Woman, which, and I'm, if I can just get to the home page on here, or just take out that, you actually get this free. Okay, so this is pretty neat. Well, not so much free. If you're a member, you get to have the whole room and use it, and there's a whole lot of resource. So there's a yearly membership, and there's a whole lot of others. So I'm a participant, and I know Sheila and Karen's considering. There's a few people that may be in the Rural Woman. Type in the text chat if you are, and I'll have a look in a moment. What the Rural Woman is about giving people all the tools they need to connect and do business online in lots of ways. So Rebel actually, and this Rural Women site pays for your bigger membership. So they have a massive big thing. So they're probably buying an enterprise and have lots and lots of different hosts. So, and then you can do training and a whole lot of other things. So stacks there. All right. I'm going to stop. I wonder if there's any questions, by the way. Okay, so Karen's at free membership at the moment, just trialling it out. Sheila, so you've got this and you have your own web link and everything. So it's great. So we're coming up to the last 5 minutes. Does anyone want to have a go at trying the controls? I'm going to stop sharing. Does anyone want to give a go? Okay, Karen. Excellent. So I'm going to go to the participants list, and I'm going to go, and I'm looking in my list, and I can go more on your name and make you a host.
Okay.
And it's saying, do I want to change the host to Karen? So I'm going to go yes. Okay.
And then I just
Okay, so what you're possibly not seeing too much difference, except that you've got you can probably share your screen. That could happen before because I've allowed that.
Okay. I've got a black screen now.
Yeah, share.
Oh no, there we are. Is that?
Yes. So I'm starting to see Karen Baines has started screen sharing.
So is that working now?
We're still at grey. You might have on your screen some options. Ah, yes, we go. Lovely. Bringing simplicity.
Yeah. It was a bit slow, but that's probably internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can just share it, and when I've got someone else I'm talking to. Yep. No, that's good. Cool.
Yep. Odette's just making the comment that the sound quality is not so good, and that's probably to do with your internet. And you sometimes get a bit of a warning if you've got that. But we're really pushing the limits. If you think about it, you're sharing your screen, you've got lots of video coming in, so you're really pushing the bandwidth. This is one that's better than lots of other virtual rooms I've been on. Some you just can't get in and you get tipped out. Oh, and she's saying you've got a lovely voice. Now, while you're sharing, up the top, you'll see a toolbar that's hovering around. You can look at more and you can see the chat and it pops up, but it's quite a different feel to it. Okay, now to stop sharing up the top, you can
stop share.
Stop share, and then we come back. Cool. And I'm going to come out of it. Popped me into the full screen, so I'm not seeing the chat on the side. So I'm going to exit the full screen and see that. Right. Are there any questions? Okay. There is a way you can raise your hand, and I can now see the button because I'm a participant. And so you probably can't see this, Karen. So if you click on participants in the bottom of your computer screen, you get a list on the name, and down the bottom, you can raise your hand. And that could be that someone could ask a question. Yep, so she raised a hand. I couldn't give anyone the instruction on how to do this last night because I was the host. I couldn't see that button. So you're probably not seeing that button, Karen. So if you hover over...
I can see it on other people, right?
Yes.
I can hover on others and see it. Yep.
Yeah.
I can see lower hand. Yep.
Yeah, so you can lower somebody else's hand, your participants' hands. And we can lower our own, but as a host, you could be saying, ask a question. So that's great. That's now clarified for me. You're always learning. Every room has different things, and Zoom seems to have, different sections that have different instructions and different bits and pieces. They do have a very good instruction website as well. Look, to be honest, I've learned, I was telling Karen earlier this morning, I've learned from the States. I've done a whole lot of facilitating online live courses. Absolutely amazing. So I've been qualified as a synchronous learning expert. So synchronous means at the same time. And there's a whole lot of ways and tools and tips to go with that, with preparing, and that was all about education in that vein. We've got so many more of us and so many ways to be connected live. So in that training, and I thoroughly believe particularly if you've got bigger groups, the ideal is to have 2 people so that the presenter can focus on their presentation and there's someone that supports. So that's a sort of role I can take if you want to. You can certainly do it on your own, and starting off with it being playing around with it yourself, recording yourself, connecting with someone and having little mini meetings, branch it up into a few. You can do this for free and play around. And when you feel you're at that level, but if you're in the Rural Woman, you've got it. So go for it. You've got that fantastic resource if you're a part of it. And yeah, you've got a text question there, Sheila. And I just want to go back to Odette. She's got, I wondered if Zoom stores the meeting forever or can you delete it? In the behind the scenes of Zoom, you can actually choose where your meeting is stored. It tends to, I think it's better that it stores on your own computer, but you could have it store always up to the web, but not on your computer. But I like having it on my computer and then I can play around with it and do what I want. So, so that's how it, and just if there are any other questions. Can you have 2 hosts at the same time? It transfers from one to the other, but you saw how we changed Joe from one to the other. So it is possible to have a few different hosts. And there are a number of ways you can view. I've just clicked on speaker view. I can highlight. I can choose someone to highlight. So no, not seeing that. Maybe it's because, I'll try Karen, because you've got your video on. Okay, I can do a spotlight video, which means that because Karen's my guest speaker, she's highlighted on the screen. So although I'm talking, I think you should be seeing Karen. Oops, we've got a whole lot of it. Lots of good sharing and connecting. That's another good reason for doing this. Okay, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to. Removing wrinkles, we've got the costings, we've got, you know, recording and creating, the different ways you can potentially use it, the different things, and I think it's all about experience and building up. I've used, as I said, I've done lots of online for over 10 years. Using a new room, you sort of get out of your comfort zone, and it's about practicing and engaging and trying it out, and just stretch the boundaries and engage with people who you feel comfortable with to begin with. Okay. Hope you've learned a lot from that, had some fun. Thank you so much for engaging in the chat, coming today, and for being a host. Karen, you're going in feet first. I love it. You're on your journey. Good luck with yours, Sheila, coming up. And what's your topic about, Sheila, that you're doing for your webinar? 16th of April, and what time?
Hi there. I thought I might as well pop on.
Absolutely.
What did you ask? I was so busy looking for the right buttons.
Yeah.
What you asked what the topic is?
Yeah, what's the topic you're going to be talking about?
So it's a 5-week program, and because I normally run women's retreats.
Yes.
Live, but this is going to be online, and it's 5 weeks, and the top, like I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and coach. So we'll be doing hypnotherapy and emotional freedom technique where we tap on the body,
yes,
and clear emotional issues, and pardon me, and yeah, a little bit of health and nutrition, and yeah, just bringing together the women in a room Monday nights at 7:30 from the 16th of April, and yeah, so I've just this week jumped in and thought just set it up, and I've got a month to get my program, you know, together. So what I'll do is I'll base what the retreats I normally do in person, I'll bring that information across and break it down into 5 weeks. That's the plan.
That's an awesome plan. How exciting. How exciting. You know, and that's it. You have to start somewhere. And go for it, because it's a great way to connect. You've got a great service that not all of us can get to, and this is a great way to connect with people and give people an opportunity to tap into what you offer.
Thank you.